Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. I hope you're all very well this evening. So let's see who we have on the stream. So we have Robbie, the Pict. Great to see you. We have Killer. Great to have you on once again, Killer. Thanks for moderating. We have Rielle. Thanks for coming on. Dude, great to see you, Dude. Hope you're well. We have, let me see, Tiny Demolition Lover. Great to have you on, Tiny Demolition Lover. Hope you're well this evening. Magister, great to see you, Magister. Nathanal, great to see you. CJM, great to have you on, CJM. Hope you're well. We have Digital X Image, great to see you. Bro, those countdowns kill me. Let me see. We have Enzo the God. Great to see you, Enzo. Peter, thank you so much for that super chat. Let me just run down quickly, see what Peter has said. Are we going to get a countdown on the 31st of December? Yes, I have to do a special stream for the 31st of December. Not sure exactly what time I'll do it at, but I will definitely consider it. Yes. Magister, great to see you, Magister. Sorry, Digital Image, CGM, Killer. Great, sorry, I've already said it all. We have Enzo, that was the last one. Dano, great to see you, Dano. Ministerian, great to see you, Ministerian. Hope you're well. Minin Malta, hope you're well. Great to have you on again. Paul, great to see you. Paul Caffeine. I need you in the morning, Paul Caffeine. We have Catherine, great to see you, Catherine. We have Akismad, great to have you on, Akismad. Pete, great to see you, Pete. Jean, Gingers, great to see both of you. Glyn, sorry. Graham, great to have you on, Graham. Hope you're well. The Buttons blog, great to see you. Who else have we got? Glasgow Case, hope you're well, Glasgow. Great to see you on. Bossack, okay, great to see you. Who else have we got? Elliot, great to see you. Hope you're well. Angels, great to have you on. Cotton Cat, hope you're well, Cotton. Great to see you once again. Ed, great to see you. Savino Basta, ciao. Great to see you. Let me see. We have two sort of owl eyes. Mark, great to have you on, Mark Vessling. Great to see you. And I do recommend people checking out Mark Vessling's website and his channel. Multiple channels, very interesting channels. Uni, great to see you. No, Yoni, great to see you. Who else? Matt, Greek, great to see you. Nod de Salsi, great to see you. And so many people. Kendra, Franz, Elliot, Biker Slow, John O'Sullivan, Lulu's Corner, great to see you, Lulu. We have, just going very quickly down, we're at, 218 already. That's fantastic. Thanks again, Peter, for that super chat. Cotton Cat, Neil, Anthony C, great to see you, Anthony C. Wee Scott's Dog, great to have you on, Wee Scott's Dog. I don't see Conservator. Is Conservator on? Unless I've missed him. Jim, great to see you, Jim. Hope you're well. Aiden, sorry. Artemis, great to see you, Artemis. Mark Nichols, great to see you. Sean, Reese, Pete, and everyone else. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's come on the stream tonight. Marilena, I see, has popped on. So thank you all for coming on the stream. Hope you're all very well this evening, and I hope you had a great weekend. So before I begin, I just need to clarify something. Conservator, great to see you, Conservator. I need to clarify something. So I uploaded a video today about Keir Starmer responding to a call on LBC with Nick Ferrari. And some of you may have seen that the comments had been disabled on that video. Now, the comments had been disabled because basically it had turned into a bin fire. It had attracted very unsavory individuals, and it had gone over the deep end. And I decided, look, the types of comments that were appearing on the channel would, I think, possibly put the channel, I don't know, into a blacklist or something in YouTube's eyes. So, and I don't want that. I don't want the channel closed down because of some people's comments. Now, there were also, after I had closed it down, I noticed that some people, regular commenters on this channel, were actually receiving death threats. So that was just another reason, in my opinion, to have the comment section closed down. Now, some people also who were commenting on that video, these are not people who regularly comment on the videos. They had discovered the channel by accident, or discovered this video, so they decided to attack me. And I don't care if people attack me, but if people are attacking other commenters who regularly comment on this channel that I care about, then I'm not going to allow it to continue. So I decided to close down the comment section. Now, I don't think I've ever actually closed the comment section on a video before. It's never. I'm trying to remember. I've been making videos since 2014 or 2016. Really political videos since 2016. So I don't think I can ever remember actually disabling the comments. This is the first time. So it was just some of the comments that were appearing on it. I said, no, it's beyond the pale. We can have a debate, we can argue, people can make funny comments or whatever, but after that, no, I couldn't accept that. And I don't want to risk the channel being closed down by YouTube because of some people's comments. Because, you know, the YouTube are not very transparent about this, but in their terms of service, they say that people who run channels should monitor comments and should delete comments that are offensive or threatening. And if I don't delete them because I don't see them, or because there are so many of them, I don't know how YouTube would react to that. So I don't want to risk the channel for that. I don't like doing it, but it wasn't my choice. Now, what was this video about? Just to give some people some background. So this was a video that it was an interview between Keir Starmer. You can watch the video yourself. The video is still there. It's just the comments have been removed and blocked. The video was about this conspiracy theory surrounding the idea that white people in the UK would become a minority in the future. Now, the conspiracy theory part, I didn't go into it in the video, but the video wasn't so much about the conspiracy theory. It was more about Keir Starmer's reaction to it. That's what the video was more about. It wasn't about so much the conspiracy theory. And the conspiracy theory is this idea that white people are becoming a minority in the UK. And that's not the conspiracy theory part of it. That is true. You know, the demographics are changing. The conspiracy theory part of it is that it's been driven by some people. Now, it's been driven, according in some circles, to a particular religious group. You know, a religious group that have been, how can I say, controlling the world. This in these people's eyes for centuries, and this is just another manifestation of their control over the world. This is the conspiracy theory, that it's all driven. There's some, plan behind all of this. Not that there's actually demographic change. No, the demographic change is happening. No one can really dispute that. The conspiracy part is that it's driven by some group of people. It's normally a small, small organization behind closed doors who have tentacles all over the world. Illuminati. Yes, Kenny. Great to have you on, Kenny. Not like anti-vaccine. Would it be the Catholic Church? No, a different religious organization. One that had some problems back in the 1930s in Germany. This religious organization I'm talking about. It's not even an organization. It's just a religion. So they always get tarred. They always get scapegoated at the end of the day. And these people who are pushing this idea are they will say the white people are under threat. Their numbers are, they're going to be a minority in the UK in the future, and that's true. That part is true. Although I still have issues with that, whether, what do you define as a white person? Because, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, I, as an Irish person, would not actually be considered white in the UK, in Britain at the time, or 150 years ago. So the definition of what white people is changes. So I don't know what these people's definition of a white person is. But anyway, even if they have a clear definition, demographics change. You can put it down to globalization, you can put it down to economics, you can put it down to social changes. There are many different reasons. And of course, it's not organized by some small group of people who have some sort of twisted agenda. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say on that. Unfortunately, the comments had to be switched off. So I just want to read some of your comments before we jump into the main part of the stream tonight. So, Mark KTT says, "Evening Max, really enjoyed your live stream with Bowler Hat Man. That's great. Any plans to do a live stream with Bowler Hat Man and Phil from a different bias?" Well, I have a little bit of news on that. So I've reached out to Phil, and Phil has responded, and Phil would be very happy to do a live stream with me. So we just need to set a time, and it could be happening. It depends on Phil's schedule. My schedule in the evenings is quite light, so I'm happy to do, maybe we could do a live stream on the normal days that I do a Tuesday or Friday night, or we could set up a special live stream probably in the evening. So we haven't put something in stone yet, but it seems to be perhaps maybe even next week we could be doing a live stream, but it depends on Phil's timetable. So he's a busy man. Okay, he pumps out a lot of material every day, and he does a lot of research, so I know he's extremely busy. So, but it should be, if everything's okay with him, he may be able to do one next week, or we could organize something maybe just in early January. But we'll see how things manifest. But it is definitely going to happen at this stage. Could you please announce this on Twitter? I can't, but I'll have to ask someone else to, because if you're not familiar, I'm blocked from Twitter because I said some bad things about Boris Johnson. A Christmas special, yes. So it would be, I don't know if we'll have Bowler Hat Man again, but I'll need to reach out to Bowler Hat Man again, see if he's up for it. I was thinking just myself and Phil first, and then if it's successful, I think the one with Bowler Hat Man was really successful. A lot of people were very happy with it. So we could maybe do multiple ones. We could do one before Christmas, another one after. Let's see how things work out. I think it would be interesting to do some live streams during major events. So if there's something really ground shaking when it comes to Brexit, it would be interesting to cover that in a live stream, maybe even once a month or something like that. But let's get the first one under our belt first. I like Phil's sense of humor. Yes, I do too. Let me see. You can ask Phil to announce it on Twitter. I could ask Phil. Yes, Phil can announce it. You're not blocked on Twitter. Just create a new email and off you go. I think they need to certify your phone number, and I only have one phone number, so. Great news, Max. Love both channels. That's great, Minimalta. Okay, so let's move on. Of course, we're going to talk about Brexit. We're going to talk about the pandemic, and of course, Donald Trump as well. Now, of course, as you all know, smash that like button. We're over 337 viewers. That's fantastic. Smash that like button. What about Graham Hughes, Max? Yeah, I saw. I want to say thanks to Glasgow Kiss for highlighting that video. So Graham was asked by, I think it was Glasgow, in one of his videos recently about debating me And he said, I will if he's not a raging Brexiteer. So I got a bit of a chuckle there. Yeah, definitely would do one with Graham. It just depends on what we need to talk about. So, of course, Graham is well informed on Brexit, and we can talk about Brexit. I'd also like to expand with other guests or other commentators. So if there are people outside the Brexit sphere, definitely recommend those people to me as well, and I'll try and also you guys, if you're in contact with somebody informed, somebody who knows something in particular, they're an expert in their field, it'd be great to talk to them as well. So let me see. Okay, so let's remember, if you want to support the channel, you can become a patron. If you want to support the channel, the stream, you can send me a super chat. I'll read out that comment, and you can also just share the videos. That's a great way to support the channel as well. And of course, comment when it's possible to comment. Okay, so we have our first article for tonight is the Scottish airfield earmarked as post-Brexit lorry park. So I know Scotland was jealous of Kent. Kent was getting its lorry parks. Now Scotland is going to get a lorry park for Brexit as well. So this is from The Guardian. It says, exclusive, Transport Scotland hopes to use site in case of delays at ferry terminals linking with Northern Ireland. So an old military airfield near the Scottish town of Stranraer has been earmarked as an emergency lorry park in case of major delays at ferry terminals linking the country with Northern Ireland. Transport Scotland, a government agency, has been struggling to find space to stack lorries if there are significant hold-ups at the two ferry terminals at Carnryan at the alarm of freight operators. The terminals carry about 400,000 freight vehicles and 400,000 cars a year between Scotland and Larne and Belfast in Northern Ireland. There are fears that delays could cause gridlock on the main roads, the A77 and the A75, which are both single lane. Single lane, okay, and you have lorries passing through them. Transport Scotland told The Guardian that it has an agreement in principle with the Earl of Stair about using Castle Kennedy. So they're going to use a castle, a Second World War RAF training base, and now an unlicensed airfield used by light aircraft, which he owns, about 5 miles from Stranraer, as a makeshift lorry park for up to 240 heavy goods vehicles. So you have, once again, look, why is this all been? This has been done 2 weeks before the end of the transition period. I don't know. I don't even know what to say at this stage. UK will have world-class traffic jams. If you've ever driven... Oh, let me read. So it's great to have some of you guys from that area. So let's see. The Buttons blog says, if you've ever driven through Carnryan, you know it's going to be a disaster. A77 is a single way all the way to Ayr. Like, you imagine, people have to travel to work, they have to travel around by car. These roads are going to be chock-a-blocked with lorries. Love the comment recently from Phil describing the senior Tory MPs as rats in a sack. So a customs border a la Kent in Scotland, after all. How's that not giving them ideas? Is Boris deliberately trying to wreck Scotland? I don't think this is by design. I think this is like, we need to do something. This is last minute thinking. So I know you would understand if it's Boris trying to wreck Scotland, but I don't think so. Rose, thank you for that comment. I lived in Stranraer, and the roads around are terrible. So you're not going to have just tailbacks in Dover, but you also have tailbacks in Stranraer. World-beating tailbacks were never promised. Yeah, you didn't see World-beating tailbacks on the side of a big red bus. Well, his lordship will be able to afford to heat the castle this winter then. Oh, and all the lorries parked around, the passive heat will keep him warm. QA Library, I hope you read. I didn't receive. I wanted to respond to you, but I didn't receive your email. Can you double check you sent it to the right address? Word beating lorry parks. So I want to show you this video about the trade talks. So is there progress? Is there not progress? So what the hell is happening with Brexit? We've moved from yes, there is progress to no, there isn't progress, back to there is progress. Now, just tonight before I came on the stream, it seems that maybe Boris Johnson has moved also on fish. He seems to have moved also on the level playing field. So the last stumbling block seems to be governance. Now, what's also interesting is that Jacob Rees-Mogg, let me see if I can find that article. Let me see if I can bring it up here. Just a moment. No, it's not here. Just I'll be with you in a moment, guys, because I found an article that was really interesting about. Let me see. I'll do a Google search. Here we go. Let me post it in the over here. So it says here, this is quite interesting, and it relates to, of course, of Brexit, of course. So MPs may not vote on any Brexit deal until after it has come into force, Jacob Rees-Mogg suggests. So Parliament could be asked to retrospectively correct domestic law with New Year's deadline fast approaching. So I posted a link about this, or a comment about this tweet, I think it was about this, on the channel. This is insane. So Jacob Rees-Mogg, who is talking about how, we need to take back control, we need to take back democracy from the EU. And what he's talking about here is that, we're not going to actually have a vote on... may not vote on any deal until after it has come into force. So the government will sign off on a Brexit deal, and then Parliament will have a choice to vote on it. So it says here, MPs may not vote on any Brexit deal until next year after it has come into force, Jacob Rees-Mogg has suggested. Parliament could be asked to retrospectively correct domestic law to recognise the agreement with the New Year Eve deadline fast approaching, the Commons leaders said. Mr. Rees-Mogg admitted the move could be largely controversial, saying, if anyone took it to court, it would, I think we would find ourselves in considerable difficulties. But he added, normally you would expect a treaty to be ratified before it comes into force. But if both sides accept that ratification is done in a different way, that is theoretically possible. That is theoretically possible. The comments come as both sides inch closer to an agreement after stepping back from the brink of settling for a no deal by extending the talks on Sunday. The EU is believed to have diluted its threat of so-called lightning tariffs if the UK cut its state aid, labour and environmental standards in future, gaining an economic advantage. The UK has agreed to arbitration, but the two sides are yet to agree on the process for that or what body would arbitrate. It is unclear if the threat of unilateral tariffs has been dropped altogether. So this is interesting. The progress that has been made. The idea that we are the EU said until recently, if the UK doesn't follow if the UK aligns and then with us on these issues, environmental standards, labour, state aid, aspects like this, and then later we change, we increase the standard of we increase environmental standards, for example, and the UK doesn't follow suit, then the UK would suffer tariffs. Now, the compromise seems to be that, yes, you would suffer tariffs if it goes through arbitration. So an arbitration body would say, we would take it to an arbitration body. The arbitration body would say yes or no, and then if they say yes, then the tariffs would be implemented. So these tariffs would not be implemented directly from the EU, immediately from the EU. It would have to go through arbitration first, which sounds quite reasonable, I think, because if there's arbitration, it can be quite clear who's in the wrong. So I don't think it's a huge compromise for the EU. And it is maybe an advantage for the UK because if they win the arbitration, then if they win in the arbitration, then they get away with it without suffering the tariffs. But I don't see how that would work. But the big story here, of course, is MPs will not get a vote on it. Now, is this because Boris Johnson wants to push through a deal that he's afraid that Brexiteers won't like? Or is it that he's pushing through a deal that he knows that Remainers won't like? Now, I'm more of the idea that he wants to push it through. He wants to push through a deal that Brexiteers won't like because he has compromised. If he wasn't compromising, and he just wanted to push it through to avoid any sort of trouble from the Labour Party, that would make sense to push it through and ratify it and then put it through Parliament. I think this is to, in a way, trick Brexiteers. Now, it worked before, so he will do it again. What I'm talking about before is with the withdrawal agreement. The withdrawal agreement was pushed through Parliament. Ian Duncan Smith, chief Brexiteer, from former leader, what I call the placeholder politician, the guy who's rolled out onto all the radio stations and who also, makes a lot of money on the side writing articles for, I don't know, not the Guardian. Tom, thank you so much for that super chat. Strogengeyer's progress. Yes, very good. Thank you very much for that super chat. Is it progress and not progress at the same time? So I think it is concerning that he's going to try and push it through without MPs being able to read it. And I think it's because he doesn't want Brexiteers to read it. Because Brexiteers are the threat. Keir Starmer has basically said, look, I'll vote for a deal. So it's not a threat to ask, it's not a threat from the Labour Party. I think it's a threat from the ERG or the likes of the ERG. Graham, thank you so much for that super chat. What happens with the vote in the EU Parliament? I think if the EU negotiators sign off on something, they say this deal is okay, I think the EU Parliament will vote it through. There won't be any restrictions because they've already said we trust Michel Barnier, we trust the European Commission. So if they're okay with it, then we'll be okay with it. I know the French have been doing a lot of saber rattling, but I think at the end of the day, it's just really saber rattling. It's not. I don't think they're serious about vetoing a deal. It's once again Macron appearing tough. He has to appear tough. He's under a lot of pressure. Mary, thank you so much for that super chat. Become a Patreon. Fantastic. Mary has become a Patreon. Great to see. Sorry, the screen was a little bit small. I didn't see it. That's great. Another Patreon. That's fantastic. So if you become a Patreon, you have access to Discord. We have a lot of fun on Discord. And after the stream tonight, I'll have a chat with people on Discord, talking about the stream, talking about everything that they want. Normally it's them doing most of the talking. I observe because I do all the blabbing here. But it's interesting. Let me see. I'd pay to read the comments under an IDS article in the Guardian site. That was a bit of a slip of the tongue there for me. Yes, that would be interesting. But I once again, I think it's going to be a case of running this through Parliament. Boris Johnson is happy to agree to these things. Now, I'm a bit worried that Boris Johnson may agree to things in this New Deal and then try to break the law later. But I think that's a bit of a long shot. But it is interesting that Jacob Rees-Mogg is saying, yeah, we're going to ratify it later. Jacob Rees-Mogg, who's always talking about, respecting Parliament. It's important that the government is held to account. This is not holding the government to account. It's like we put in the law and then we we correct it later. So I want to show you this report from Sky News about the Brexit trade negotiations.
He spoke to ambassadors this morning. I'm told he was upbeat in that meeting. That he said that a deal was still possible but not guaranteed. He went to the European Parliament and repeated that message before resuming his negotiations with Lord Frost, UK's chief negotiator. There perhaps still is, a sort of frisson of excitement in the air. But let me tell you, in the past few moments, I've received some details from a source within the UK government about the...
Sorry, I just want to clarify, this is from the 14th, so this is from yesterday.
The British view of negotiations, and it is a little more downbeat. Let me tell you, it is this. From a source, talks remain difficult, and we have not made significant progress in recent days, despite efforts by the UK side to bring energy and ideas to the process. That is, of course, the view from the UK. It carries on, like any sovereign country, we must have the right to take our own decisions, choose regulations that suit the UK. We cannot sign up to dynamic alignment through the back door. It goes on, the UK cannot be locked into the EU's regulatory orbit. This is clear.
Now, what's interesting about this is that the UK government were downplaying progress, while the EU were upplaying progress. Now, this could be Lord Frost in winter. Yes. Jack Frost, wasn't it? Jack Frost was the name of a Disney character, I think. But the EU were saying, look, we're making great progress. The UK were saying, we're not making good progress. Now, if we were to take them at face value, you would say, well, there's a conflict here. But maybe not. They could be making progress, and Boris Johnson wants to downplay it so as to, at the last minute, say, look, I succeeded. Or he could be afraid that if the EU are seen to be making progress, this is going to upset many Brexiteers. So he has to be careful. They have to be careful with the language. So it makes political sense to downplay it. Say, look, things are not going very well. We're still talking. We haven't thrown in the towel. So there's still time, to build up a certain amount of tension. Things are not going very well. And then at the last minute, Boris flies over to Brussels and then seals the deal. And he returns as a hero. Now, I could be wrong here. It could actually be the EU who are playing it up, hoping that this would put pressure on Boris Johnson and his government to move closer to a deal. But a lot of sources are pointing to more and more evidence that Boris Johnson has has compromised, has moved. So this issue of the level playing field, this issue of fishing. So I want to show you this other article about fishing. No, sorry, where is it? One moment. No, there wasn't. I had seen an article today, earlier in the day. It was about how fishing fleets would be registered in the UK. So EU fishermen could fish in UK waters, but as far as I know, they would need to be registered in the UK. So this would be a bureaucratic problem, less a sovereignty problem. So it would once again be EU fishermen, French fishermen would be able to fish in UK waters, but it would depend on the UK allowing that. So there would be, as far as I know, but these things keep changing all the time, and many of the sources are not completely reliable. So as we've seen, you could hear something one day and then it would change the next. Chris, thank you so much for that super chat. You haven't written a comment, so if you want to post a comment below, that'd be greatly appreciated, and I'll read it out. I haven't received the notification yet, but I see that you have posted a super chat, so thank you so much for that. Okay, so just staying on Brexit, of course, I want to read part of this story. It says, post-Brexit key worker shortage may hamper UK economic recovery. We've talked about this before, how immigration was a key issue for many voters when they decided to support Brexit. And in many cases, I'm not saying all Brexiteers are like this, but I think if you scratch the surface, you will find many Brexiteers. And once again, let me clarify, not all Brexiteers think in this way, but many seem to do. When you scratch the surface, you find the issue for them was immigration. I don't want immigrants in my town, and being a member of the EU allowed all these immigrants into my town. Now, of course, we've seen the beginning of this year or last year, where farmers had to fly people in. No, it was this year. I think it was back in May, during the pandemic actually, where farmers had to fly people in from Romania to pick fruit and vegetables because they couldn't get the staff. Now, of course, they couldn't get the staff not because British people were lazy, but because this work required a certain level of skill, and the work is not, 9 to 5 sitting in an office. It's backbreaking work. Requires a lot of skill, and it requires you to live basically in a caravan or in a tent in the middle of nowhere, living outside basically for a certain number of months of the year, and most people don't want to do that. So it was very difficult for the farmers to hire people, British people, to do it. So they had to. Thanks very much, Dimtiar. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing names. I'm sorry. Thanks very much for that. Yes, it was this year. Will salad exist after January? No, this is a bit of a false argument. People will say it's not that things will not arrive, it's just that they will be more expensive. Now, there will be restrictions, there will be delays, but you will be able to get the food that you normally have. Probably it's that it's going to be more expensive, but if it has to sit in a truck for days on end, or even a day, it's going to degrade in its value. And then if it has to be moved around so much after that, it's going to lose its quality, and it's not going to be cost effective for producers in Europe to send fresh fruit and vegetables in to the UK. Because if you have, for example, let's say fish, if you're transporting fish from and as the UK import most of the fish, they don't actually consume a lot of fish in their own waters. They export most of their fish. So the fish that they do import, it's going to it's going to have to sit in a refrigerated truck for a few days because it won't be able to pass through. It'll have to be checked unless something happens, but that seems to be the case, and that's going to damage the fish, or it's going to damage fruit and vegetables that have to sit inside these trucks for a long time. Slightly rotten lettuce for 20 euro a crop. Will cheap stuff become more expensive though? For some things you may not see, and it's not that there is tariffs on everything, but there is tariffs on many things, and we still don't know all of how many things will receive tariffs on them, and how much the tariffs will be, and how much they will cost at the end of the day. There's still a lot of opaqueness surrounding this. So I just want to read part of this article here about key workers. So the economic recovery from the corona-driven recession will be hampered by post-Brexit shortage of key workers, including nursing assistants, senior care workers, and dental nurses. The UK government's migration advisors have warned. In its annual report, the Migration Advisory Committee (MAC) said many of the roles with the highest vacancies in the UK, such as veterinary nurses and welders, require a significant level of training, which could cause a delay in filling jobs and hinder future economic recovery. Now, this is something that, of course, that senior Brexiteers have been saying, once we leave the European Union, we'll be able to transform our economy. We're going to have so many opportunities, but you can't take advantage of these opportunities if you don't have the right staff. And you can't just train people up overnight. It takes years to build up the skills required to do these jobs. And if through stricter immigration laws and a toxic environment, many people who currently live in the UK will leave, and some have already left. A large number of people have already left, have abandoned the UK because of the toxic environment and the stricter rules regarding immigration. Now, this was to satisfy we know who. Some of the people who were commenting on my video earlier is to satisfy these people. The government have to be seen to be throwing some red meat to the base. The Priti Patel is quite very popular with extreme right-wing people. Why is that the case? Not new opportunities, I know. I have an early start, so good night all. Kendra, thank you very much for coming on the stream. Have a great night. Take care. Convoy shipyards is the future of the UK of the UK industry. A Brexiteer I know said, I'm thinking short term in being scared about the outcome. Is there any truth to this madness at all? There will be a huge amount of... See, it's very difficult actually for us to predict things because there will be damage at the beginning, that's for sure. Even most Brexiteers are saying, yes, there will be some disruption. Even Nigel Farage was saying that there will be disruption. Now, he's downplaying it, saying, yes, there will be disruption, but it will be short term, or it won't be so serious. This is very different to what they were saying before. They were saying before, a few years ago, even a few months ago, they were saying as soon as we leave the European Union, it will be amazing new day. Companies and countries will be queuing up to do business with us. The day after, it wasn't 6 months after or a year after. Now they've changed their tune. They're saying, yes, there will be some difficulty. It will be short term. It won't be so severe. Okay, then why did you change your mind? How did you move from everything will be fantastic to it won't be so bad? So how long will it be? Well, I think we have to listen to the experts, and the experts, like in the Bank of England, have said that it's going to be damaging for a few years at least. Now the problem is how the UK can adjust, because the pandemic is one problem. Once you have the vaccine, once you can start restarting the economy, you can borrow, you can throw money at the problem and overcome it. The problem with Brexit is that there is a complete realignment of society and business. You know, if there is a lot of bureaucracy, throwing money at it doesn't resolve it. If you have to check lorries coming in through a port, physically check them, not just scan the license plate or the number plate. You actually have to open them up and check them. Yes, you can hire more people, but if you're having thousands of trucks coming through, that's going to be an extra cost. And you can speed it up somewhat, but you cannot have it frictionless. We don't have the technology yet, and I don't know when we will have it, that you can scan lorries, you know, from the outside, scan a container and understand exactly what's inside the container and check it against a database to see, okay, is there a tariff to pay on this product? We don't have that technology yet. Maybe when Star Trek, when we move into the Star Trek universe, they'll have that type of technology, but we're a bit away from Star Trek yet. Peter, thank you so much for that super chat once again. Short term until we re-enter. Yeah, so when will, thanks for that again, when will the UK re-enter? I think it will be at least 10 years. No, let me correct myself. At least 5 years, but probably about 10 years. Because you need a new government. You will not rejoin the European Union under the current government. Definitely not under Boris Johnson. No matter how bad it is, Boris Johnson will never say Brexit was a mistake. He will say it was sabotaged by Remainers or the EU or the general public or anyone else, Parliament, the judiciary, everyone else. It's their fault. So as long as Boris Johnson is there, you're not going to see a rejoining movement within the Conservative Party, for example, or within the government. Boris Johnson could be replaced. Now, who is in line to replace Boris Johnson? We have Rishi Sunak. He's fully on board with Brexit. Michael Gove. He's fully on board with Brexit. And who else is there? Matt Hancock. I don't think Matt Hancock is in the running to become a leader of the Labour Party. The Labour Party. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's jumped ship. No, in the future. No, the leader of the Conservative Party. So you're looking at Michael Gove or Rishi Sunak, and neither of those. Both of these have been instrumental in Brexit, so they're not going to abandon the project. Patel for PM, my God, no. So it's one of these two. Astroforum, thank you so much for that super chat. Although the EU is far from perfect, I'm actually impressed with by how the member states stay united and protect the internal market. Yes, it's because I think it was Phil who was talking about it a few days ago. Thanks again for that super chat. I think it was Phil who was saying that we have to remember what the EU was built on. The EU was constructed out of warring nations in Europe. So European nations have been fighting each other for centuries. And I think it was maybe Jim. I want to say thanks to Jim for making this. I think it was Jim on while we were on Discord. He said that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, if it wasn't you, but I think it was Jim who may have said that while the UK suffered during World War II and suffered a great deal, it wasn't invaded. It never suffered the humiliation, in a sense, of an invasion. And that has completely changed the mindset of people in Europe. Most countries in Europe were invaded or invaded someone else. And that completely changes your mindset. And the UK was never invaded, unless we're talking about the Vikings or whatever, but that's a long time ago. I'm talking about recent history. So the European Union was built out of peace, was built out of this idea of an eternal peace, long-lasting peace. We'll end war. Our former enemies become friends, or at least peaceful towards each other. And they don't want to lose that. They understand the value of that. And they want to protect that. And I think maybe the British government or Brexiteers don't seem to understand that. And once again, and thanks for that super chat, I think they understand it started off as a peace project, and now it has become something extremely valuable to each member state. And that's why I think that they're so adamant about protecting it. Alex, thank you so much for that super chat. 5 years is not fantastic. We need 4 years for electoral reform, then calling for an election and actually implementing the electoral reform. Yes, I agree. You need first past the post. You need to move away from first past the post. You need to move to some other electoral system, maybe proportional representation. Or there are other forms available, but need to move away from first past the post. First past the post allowed Boris Johnson to gain 80 seats without the equivalence in Parliament. So in the vote. So he gained a huge majority, but the actual count, I think it actually went down a little bit. So he didn't actually gain, in the overall vote, he didn't actually gain more voters. I think he actually may have lost some voters. But because the Conservatives had put their emphasis in marginal seats, and because of the first past the post system, it allowed them to build up a majority of 80 seats. Now, under a proportional representation model, the Conservative Party would never win a majority. And the Labour Party would probably never win a majority. So you would have smaller coalitions, and it would break up. You would destroy the Conservative Party overnight, because there are different factions within the party, and they are held together because the proportional representation system is the only way to go. If you, the first past the post, I'm getting confused. The first past the post system at the moment is the only system in town. And that maintains this umbrella, this tent of, there are people within the Conservative Party. Boris Johnson has ejected many of them, but there are people who are moderates, there are people more on the left, there are, of course, people on the far right, people in the centre right, there are libertarian people, there are more state-supporting people, statists, and they're held together because, they have one common goal. Keep the Labour Party out. Support businesses, technically, until Boris Johnson came along. But that is their overall goal, and they're able to hold that together. And it's somewhat, you're going to see it somewhat, I think, also in Scotland, with the SNP. If independents are right, you're probably going to see the SNP fragment, because there are left-wing, conservative, socialist, all different groups are held together because they have one uniting goal, and that is independence. So I hope I answered your question there. Let's see. We have Peter. Thank you so much for that super chat. Well, I missed. Let me scroll back up. Peter, are we still at war? I hope not. If you read the Express or the Telegraph or the Sun, you would imagine that the UK and France are still at war. 2 world wars and 1 World Cup. I look here in Italy. The Italians don't have a huge amount of love for the French. I don't think the French have a great love for the Italians either. The Austrians and the Italians, they get on quite well. I'm not sure about how the Germans and the French get on, or the Germans and the Belgians. So we all, we're all in this group together. It's like a family, okay? And of course, families fight and families disagree. But at the end of the day, they understand that the family is more important than the individuals, and it's important to maintain the family. So I don't think we're still at war. Some people think we are, but I think they're wrong. The curious thing is, Express actually managed to convince people, and the British fishermen exist. They don't. That the British fishermen exist, they don't. Family is a great analogy. That's what it's like, a family. you know, we all know that our family, we have our weird brother or sister. Of course, in my family, I'm not the weird one. There's always somebody else. But it is Bismarck would be pleased. Britain isolated itself with no help from outside. You mean since 1945? Yes. No, not since 1945. We've had peace in Europe. I know there are some people will disagree with me regarding the Balkans, of course. Some parts of Italy are bilingual, though. Yes, there is the German-speaking people in the north of Italy, near the Austrian border. And this is something interesting. These people feel more Austrian, while the Austrians don't consider them Austrian. It's North and South Tyrol. But in the towns they have everything in German and in Italian. But although I don't think it's proper German. Anyway, I'm getting a bit sidetracked. So just to continue with this, let me see. The Mac chair Professor Brian Bell said, "This is the time for great change for the UK immigration system, with the contribution that immigrants can make becoming the focus rather than where they were born. Such major changes are never easy, but there is no denying the significant impact of the ongoing pandemic." Yes, I think the pandemic, once again, I've talked about this before, the pandemic is something terrible, but we have to take something good out of it. And I think we have to value the great work that people who we consider essential workers have done. You know, in the past, people would, and of course some of them still do, but the general public would look down their nose on, and I'm talking about the middle class. The middle class would look down their nose on the working class. You know, the people who work in the supermarket or deliver goods by courier or cleaners or whatever in the hospital. And that changed. And I think that was something amazing. I think that was something fantastic that we changed. I think most people changed their approach to essential workers. I hope that's not going to disappear. I hope we're let's clap Boris. Let's hope that doesn't change, because they have demonstrated, they didn't have to demonstrate, but it was demonstrated how essential they are. And we have to remember that, and we have to move forward to make and remember the sacrifice that many of them have made, even the ultimate sacrifice in many cases. You know, cleaning staff or nurses, people who are not earning the big bucks, people who don't have power. In many cases, many people who don't even have a trade union to defend them, to defend their rights. They have no rights. So I think it's important. I know my postman, UPD and UPS driver by name. There we go. That wouldn't have been something you would have done in the past. Now we understand. And it's the same with me. Here in my local town, the supermarket is a very small family-run supermarket. It remained open during the pandemic. And I continue to shop there because I made a promise to myself. Look, these people, they... and I asked you, I think it was I asked you guys on the stream one time, like, how can I help them out? How can I show my gratitude? And you said, continue to shop there. And that's what I do. It's more expensive than going to, you know, the large store. But I think it's important to show that you care. Because I'm a sentimental old fool. Okay. Let's move on, but before we move on, of course, we lighten the mood a little bit, and I want to show you this this funny video about Boris Johnson. Don't worry, it's not it's not Boris speaking. Well, technically, not really Boris speaking. But if you're new to the stream, let me just let it load.
Hello. No.
Okay, so this is a very interesting video. It's a deep fake, soft git. Damn you, killer. So this is a deep fake. So a deep fake is where they take Boris Johnson's face and they put his mug on someone else's mug. And well, if you're new to the stream, welcome to the stream. During halfway through the stream, we have our light moment. So I'll let you enjoy this video, and then we'll come back to the serious topics in a moment.
Now coronavirus has been totally stamped out with barely 100 or so frailish people dying a day. It's time for a bit of mea culpa. I believe that's sorry in Kleb. And a special sorry to all the healthcare workers that feel like they might have died. It would have been extremely irresponsible to spaff taxpayer dosh on PPE gear when Dom assured me the virus was basically Chinese hay fever. Much better to responsibly spaff the cash on crucial stuff, like a patriotic paint job on the tail of one's plane. And look, I'm sorry that we caused the death of 20,000 odd extra people by not locking down sooner, but just think of the almost imaginably horrific alternative. Cancelling the rugger and Cheltenham races. Yes, I simply couldn't have that on my conscience as Prime Minister. The freedom-loving British people do not want a nanny state. That said, nannies are a godsend, something I know only too well, having somewhere between 7 and 9 children, and I am genuinely sorry about the whole care home snafu. I was profoundly saddened to see all those vulnerable, elderly people unable to vote Conservative at the next election. So long, Granny, and thanks for Brexit. Huzzah! Don't worry, it's all going to be all right, because my team and I are working on this 24/7, or at least 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, with my trusty steeds beside me, flat mancock, pretty bloody aggressive, and the lady's choice, yes, Richie soon axed. This glorious country will once again rule the waves. The second wave, the third wave, the fourth wave, and so on. But don't expect too much from me. If you want to help someone out, you could always bung some dosh at this crowd justice campaign, as a bunch of healthcare workers are taking me and old Matt Hancock to the High Court for not providing them with proper PPE. Well, I'm not just going to bloody do it voluntarily, am I? Castigat redendo mores. Boris, out.
Very good, very good. So let's move on. Actually, this, let me check the, you can support. No, okay. Okay, so let's, as Boris was talking about the pandemic, let's move on. Talking about Chums, he got £49,000 pay rise this year, and it was signed by Boris Johnson, and no one could object to it. So yes, I was about to get to this story in a moment about how Dominic Cummings was given almost £50,000 bonus, and Boris Johnson signed off on it. So there was nothing anyone could do about it. Pretty aggressive. Pretty aggressive. So what's going to happen? So before we get to the situation in the UK, maybe I'll just give you an update on what's happening here in Italy with the pandemic, where things are somewhat declining. New cases are a little bit down. We're still in serious trouble at the moment in Italy. Cases seem to be declining somewhat. Mark Vestling, great to have you on. Thanks for you're off tonight, so have a great evening. Hope you're well and stay safe. See you again soon. Here in Italy, the cases are declining somewhat, but for Christmas we have these restrictions that are going to be put in place. We're not allowed to meet with family members on between the 21st of December and the 6th of January. So as to avoid also New Year's, which people would be, of course, celebrating, and it's an attempt to limit people's contact with each other. It's sad. We had hoped that it wouldn't be necessary, but it seems to be the right approach. And I think Germany is also doing something similar. So I just want to read this. So what's happening in the UK? Christmas plans in the balance as UK leaders re-examine COVID rules. So Christmas plans for millions of families were in the balance last night as ministers and devolved leaders held talks on curtailing freedoms over the festive period amid warnings that the NHS would be overwhelmed. It's very important that while new cases are increasing all the time in the UK at the moment, the lockdown was making some progress, it seemed. Now, there are parts of England or parts of London where it seems that the lockdown was not actually reducing figures, reducing the spread, perhaps because it wasn't a proper lockdown. So Boris Johnson went out of the lockdown on the 2nd of December into a tiered system, and the government, and I uploaded a video about it this morning, where most of the UK is moving into tier 3. I think it's some parts of the country, at least some parts of the country, are moving from tier 2 to tier 3. So it means that this tiered system is not working either. Now, I know Matt Hancock is hoping for a vaccine, hoping for the vaccine to arrive all over the country, but that's going to take months. If Italy, the home of Catholicism, can put health of the country before a religious festival, shame that England can't. Yeah, but it's not about the religious festival, Artemis. Unfortunately, I think it's just, people want to get a bit drunk and forget the year, which is understandable. Hey Max, great video about Keir Starmer, LBC interview with Gemma, caller Gemma. Do you know if she is also a YouTuber called Jodie K? You also got a few far right YouTuber commenting on your video. Yes, unfortunately I had to close down the video, to close down the comment section. So I don't know. I'm not familiar with these people. So, Minimalta, are you off? Good. Have a good night. See you soon. Tier 4 for Wales soon. I know it's not, but the irony. Okay. So the UK government source said that it was possible that the four nations may diverge after no agreement was reached at a crisis meeting with devolved administration chaired by Michael Gove. Leaders discussed cutting the number of days families can meet from 5 to 3, reducing the number of household mixing from 3 to 2, and introducing travel restrictions or a combination of measures. The four nations will meet again on Wednesday in the hope of agreeing a joint approach. Sorry, something I want to say here in Italy is, yes, we can't move from the 21st of December to the 6th of January outside our town. So it's not just for a few days around Christmas. It's to stop people from taking all the time off. This is normally the Christmas period here in Italy, from just before Christmas until the 6th of January, where the schools reopen again. And many people in Italy go, for example, in this area, they go to the mountains. Many people, I don't, I would like to, but many people have a second home in the mountains, and they go to the mountains for over the Christmas period. Of course, many people stay at home, but a lot of people who have a private home, a second home in the mountains, go there during the winter period and invite friends and family there as well. That's not possible now because you won't be able to leave your own town. I'm not sure. I haven't heard much reaction to that. I think many people have just accepted it because there's no alternative really. Glasgow Kiss, thank you so much for that super chat. Mankini's calendars and pineapple pizza for everyone, including the hamsters. Thank you so much. Not sure what the hamsters are going to do with Mankini calendars. I don't want to know what they're going to do with Mankini calendars. Just to let people know on the stream that there are Mankini calendars still available. They're a limited edition. Extremely limited. Okay. Not sure how you can get your hands on them. They're like gold dust. The decision, described as incredibly difficult and heart-rending, comes after many families have spent months. Have spent months unable to see or hug one another during the coronavirus pandemic, and just weeks before reunions are due to start. Boris Johnson is hoping to face down calls to change course through the government, though the government may issue new advice urging extreme caution. Hours before the talks, the British Medical Journal and Health Service Journal published a rare joint editorial saying the government could no longer claim to be protecting the NHS if they went ahead with the rash plans to let households mix indoors without social distancing and travel across the country over Christmas. We have seen how cases in the United States have exploded over the period of Thanksgiving. So there were very few restrictions in the United States regarding Thanksgiving, and we've seen how numbers exploded, new cases exploded following Thanksgiving. You'll have the same problem in the UK. I don't think we're going to see it here in Italy because of these restrictions, but allowing people to mix over the Christmas period, I'm sorry, is going to create a lot of problems. I know there will be a lot of people very upset about that, and it's understandable. But the medical journals have said you should not do it. They understand the risk. Let me read some of your comments. Max's Mankini 2021 calendar. Has 2020 not been bad enough? Lulu's Corner. You need extra punishment. No monkey. Just give them lawnmowers so they can shave Max. Okay, what's that about? It's not the law. Sorry, it's not law. All fines have been dropped. They can kiss my arse. See, that was a point. That's a valid point. Is that so the government had introduced fines, but then they discovered after that the fines were not. I don't remember. Was it constitutional or they were not legally binding? So that they had to drop all the fines. In Germany, we have a proper lockdown over Christmas. We're still losing over 500 people a day, and that's not enough for a lockdown. Will the calendars be available on Max's OnlyFans? It won't stop until we stop it. Party with everyone at Christmas. I'm reconsidering whether to visit my elderly relatives. People are not going to show restraint. No, they're not. I would suggest people, like, for your own personal safety, if you think that your family are going to break the rules, if you think your family are going to get together and just have a big party, I would advise you not to participate. You may be, looked down upon. You may be criticized over the next number of weeks, but in the long term, you will have been proven correct. I think. We need a touch of happy colors, reconnect with the natural state of mankind, and look into the future with hope. Mankini calendars are perfect. Cotton Cat, you were doing so well there. Okay, I'm gonna party like it's 1999. Yeah, I remember Y2K. Okay, so let's move on. I want to show you this video from Sadiq Khan, who is of course the mayor of London. I have a huge amount of respect for Sadiq Khan because he takes so much crap from everyone.
Well, look, as far as this...
Sorry, and he still holds his head up high. He's criticized by the Conservatives, criticized by these crazy people, he's criticized by talk radio, he's criticized by everyone, and he still, gets through it. Max, I must know where you're from. Rogue War Gaming. I'm from Ireland, but now I live in Italy. So my accent is probably a bit jarring or a bit difficult to follow, difficult to identify, because I've been here so long that I've adapted the accent, I think. Going to the Outlaws. The Outlaws is the only upside of 2020. Not going to the Outlaws Red Star. Yes. It's actually I thought it was just something we said in Ireland, the Outlaws, as opposed to in-laws. Ministerian, thank you so much for that super chat. Let me read. Danish Christmas is putting families at risk due to only a minority of people saying that they won't travel across the country to visit families. Sorry, Danish Christmas is putting families at risk. Yeah, because only a small number of people are saying they won't travel across the country. And I understand. I understand. I'm not condoning it, but I understand this way of, okay, we want to, we've been going through this whole entire year. We've been suffering this entire year, and we just want it to be over. We want to get back to some sort of normality, and people are tired, and celebrating Christmas is probably a way of getting over all of this, saying goodbye to 2020. But we've done so much. We've come so far. I think it would be terrible to throw in the towel at this stage, to undermine everything that we have achieved. Thanks for that super chat. Russians kiss 3 times. A bit of an Italian twang. Mamma mia. It's me, Mario. Do you have Italian citizenship yet? No, I don't. I still have my Irish citizenship because because we're members of the EU. I don't. It's not actually necessary. There aren't any real benefits apart from voting. There are no. I'm treated. I have the same rights as an Italian citizen, basically, apart from the right to vote, and but I'm definitely considering it. I should actually do it because it's my civic duty to vote. Unfortunately, in the town where I live, the candidate I would hope to vote for doesn't exist. It's not that the candidate doesn't have a chance. The candidate doesn't exist. Maybe I should run myself. I'd need to be a citizen to do that. I don't know how popular I would be though, because this is a very the town where I live in is run by the League Party, which is the hard right party. It's like the Brexit party. Imagine if you're living in a town run by the Brexit party, basically. Maybe they're not as bad as the Brexit party. Not as in well, no, the party is insane, but the individual members are not that. Not all of them are that insane. You don't like Lega Nord? No, I'm not a big fan of Lega Nord. The League Party, yeah, Lega or Liga Party, they're called here in Italy. Matteo Salvini, the sort of Italian version of Donald Trump. Although there are individuals within the party who are maybe not as bad. We can infiltrate, man. Google is playing funny buggers again tonight. Oh no. Yes, I don't know if you guys saw this Google problem on YouTube. I was actually uploading videos and there were some problems with YouTube a few days ago. It was on Monday. Yesterday, actually. Sorry. It's time. I live in a different time zone, I think, sometimes. Trollum went campaigning for town exit from the UK. Could run for a EU MEP. But I'd need a party behind me. I couldn't run as an MEP, an independent MEP. Zaya, the governor of Veneto, is not too bad. No, and that's what I mean. I'm not a huge fan of Zaya, but Zaya was one when it came to the pandemic. I was completely behind Zaya because he was one who was taking it seriously. He was very proactive, and something also that he was very aggressive with people who were not taking it seriously. So he was not just doing it for show. He really did believe it. And he was always wearing a mask. Even during the press conferences, he would have his mask on, which I think was an important... I know some people may see it as trivial, but I think it's important that leaders, when they appear on TV wearing a mask, this reinforces the importance of wearing a mask to the general public. Now, his politics outside the pandemic, I completely disagree with, but when it came to the pandemic, I had no criticism of Zaya. For people who don't know, he's from the League Party. He's the governor of this region, or the president of the region. Anyway, let's listen to a little bit more from Sadiq Khan.
Boris is concerned, one of the things we've learned is it's far better to go early than to go too late. So whatever I may think about the government's tiering system, it's really important from midnight tonight, we will follow the rules. We're going to be in tier 3. We've got to abide by the rules. That being said, I think the government needs to realise the consequences of them putting London in tier 3 as far as our economy is concerned. There are many pubs, bars, restaurants and cultural venues that have spent a lot of time, effort, energy and money making their places COVID secure. And when they close, tonight. Many of them may not reopen, which leads to billions of pounds of money being lost from our economy and potentially hundreds of thousands of jobs being lost. And my concern is that the government appears to be retrofitting an ineffective tiering system around an issue of the virus spreading. And I'm not sure if it will make much difference to the virus spreading. And that's why I've been called.
Okay, so I just want to stop him for a moment because he's right that the many businesses, restaurants, bars, they have been abandoned. They need support from the government. Wes G, thank you so much for that super chat. That's the support. Thank you so much for that. If you have a comment, I'm very happy to respond to it. Max should run the Ubuntu party. Cheap but effective. That'd be a great slogan, wouldn't it? Cheap but effective. Guys, smash the like button. We have 353 viewers. Smash that like button. So Sadiq Khan is correct here, but he is. I think it's very important that the government support businesses. The government have been supporting workers with the furlough scheme. They need to support them, also support the businesses as well. Because if the businesses close, then the workers have nothing to return to. It needs to be a two-pronged approach. You need to support workers and you need to support businesses. And unfortunately for a lot of business owners, they receive this information at the very last minute, 24 hours before the new measures were brought in, moving from tier 2 to tier 3. Many of them had prepared and invested time and money, UBI. Many of them had invested time and money into preparing for tier 2. And unfortunately, all of that preparation has to be abandoned, and we don't even know for how long. Stop typing UBI. If we smash our keyboards, does that make it 10 likes a person? Maybe. But also another issue that's been brought up is that the Mr. Hitler MP for Maidenhead. Wasn't there a guy in Africa? I'm not going to go down that road. Okay. One day there will be a video on UBI. Yes, I have to do a video on UBI, or at least a debate, and we could televise the debate. But where was I saying? So that it seems to be that many of the areas that are moving into tier 3 are actually Labour backed, while Conservative areas are not being affected. So ones that are run by Conservative MPs, Conservative mayors and councils, they're not being affected by this change, while ones that are being affected are Labour run areas, Labour run councils, and with Labour mayors, which is interesting. Remember, this is a decision made by central government. It's not by the individual mayors themselves.
On the government to do much more in that age group where we know there's been the biggest increase in the virus, a 75% increase in the last we've got numbers, those aged between 10 and 19. Many of them don't go to pubs, bars and restaurants. I've not seen a child of 10, 11, 12 or 13 in a pub, bar or restaurant. And so my concern is that the blunt instrument of tier 3 won't do what's needed, which is to reduce the virus quickly.
Can we therefore ask you to be explicit? I mean, do you or do you not agree with the government decision to put London into tier 3? I mean, we've said it a few times in the programme this morning. It seems somewhat counterintuitive to move 10, 11 million people into the top tier, 7 or 8 days before, they're all heading home for Christmas.
I think the government's policy of going from London in tier 2, then tier 3, then tier 0 for 5 days, then tier 3, and potentially in January a national lockdown doesn't make sense. And so
London was in tier 0. Robert, hi from Rhode Island. Great to have you on the stream, Robert. Hope you're very well. Thanks for coming on. Can someone tell Jeff Taylor November is over? I don't understand that comment. It would be a very long time for UBI to happen in this country. look at how many people have disliked the video versus the ones who have liked it. I hate to say it, but most of the hatred towards Sadiq is due to the color rather than the politics. Let me just look at. My God, yes, it's thanks for pointing that out. You can see here, the likes 314, the dislikes 1,400. I think as soon as people see the name Sadiq Khan, dislike, and you're right. It's about his background. It's his ethnic background and his religion. He's Muslim, so many people are dislike him for that. I think there's a number of things, and most of these are probably not people from London. They're people from outside who just don't like Sadiq Khan. They don't like Sadiq Khan because they've been told not to like Sadiq Khan.
Been lobbying the government with council leaders in London on a cross-party basis for them to various things to ensure we get a grip on the virus in London. For example, making sure we have mass testing available in schools for those children who may have the virus and not realise it. For example, at those schools that aren't COVID safe, haven't got the mass testing, maybe closing a few days earlier because those very same children who could have the virus and be asymptomatic will be hugging grandma and grandpa next week and potentially passing the virus on. Another thing we're lobbying the government for is to give financial support to those businesses being required to close tonight, because unless they give additional support, these businesses will go bust.
How understandable is the government's decision to move London to Tier 3 when it does appear that the greatest strain being placed on the NHS isn't happening in central London, isn't happening just south of the river from where we are. It's happening in Essex, it's happening in Hertfordshire, it's happening in Kent.
But the problem, this virus doesn't respect boundaries, whether it's borough boundaries or whether it's county boundaries. We do know a couple of weeks ago, we were seeing particular problems in the northeast of London and the boundaries of Kent and...
No, I'm not an expert on London geography or England geography at all, but I imagine many people who are living outside London and commuting into London. So the area around in the centre, it maybe doesn't have a huge infection rate, but outside in the suburbs, it does, because it's that's where the people live. The people enter the city to work and then they return home in the evening to their homes outside, because more and more people are living outside the city because it's too expensive to live in the city. And I think that's probably the case why numbers are increasing outside the center of the city. But I could be wrong. His suit is from an undertaker. It's not black. Oh, you're talking about Jeff Taylor. Okay. No, don't hit on Jeff now. Jeff is a nice guy, I think.
Essex, but the virus spreads so quickly. It's like, imagine a swimming pool and there are lanes in a swimming pool. You throw dye in the swimming pool, that dye won't respect one lane in the swimming pool. And so that's why it's important to have a one London approach, which I fully support. We've got one NHS service in London, one police service enforcing these rules, one transport system. But you're right, it's the neighbouring counties as well which have an impact on our city. That's why...
And I think that's the case once again. The people in the neighbouring counties, they travel into London to work, to visit family or whatever. And of course, it's spreading, they're transmitting it from Kent or wherever into London, because they're moving, because the population is always moving. This is what I said before. You can have a lockdown, you can have restrictions, but if people are free to move around, then it sort of defeats the purpose. 245 likes and 367 people on here. Can we get 55 more, at least Max ends before Max ends the stream? Yes, guys, smash that like button. If you haven't smashed it, smash it once though. Don't double smash it. That doesn't help. So thanks for Killer for pointing that out. Yes, I never understand how we can get to so many views but so few likes. Okay, so I think the main thing to take away here is that the government need to support businesses. If businesses don't get supported, workers will be laid off eventually. And I understand that the government are worried about, are concerned about supporting businesses because it's expensive. But you can't deal with the pandemic unless you invest in businesses, invest in supporting them. Because if people don't have the ability to earn a living, they're not going to self-isolate, they're not going to stay at home, they're going to go out. And I still don't know what the situation is for the self-employed, if there's support for them. Once again, during the lockdown, there seemed to have been better support for businesses and individuals. The longer this goes on, the support seems to get smaller and smaller. Okay, so guys, I want to just cross the sea for a moment to the United States. And of course, today, the president-elect Joe Biden he won the Electoral College, but his sights are, because we knew he was going to win. Donald Trump was probably the only person in the country who still thinks that he's still the president. He will be the president after January, but Joe Biden is now focusing on the Senate, which is going to be very important moving forward, because at the moment, if the Democrats don't pick up the Senate, if they don't win those very necessary 2 remaining seats that are up for grabs, if they don't win those, then you will have the Republicans controlling the Senate, and you'll have the risk that Joe Biden will try to push legislation through the House, which it will go through quite easily, but when it gets to the Senate, it will be blocked. And the Republicans have said, and have done, for example, when Barack Obama was president, they blocked him at every turn. So this is going to be pivotal. It's going to be extremely important for Joe Biden's administration, because if they don't pick up these 2 seats, they're going to struggle in the Senate. Now, it doesn't mean that it's automatic as soon as they win the Senate. If they win the Senate, everything is okay. The problem is also, and I want to say a big thanks to Night Raven for educating me on this, you have members of the Democratic Party who are right-wing, and they don't agree with all of the policies that the Democrats are pushing, especially the ones in the House of Representatives. Those are pushing more progressive policies. For example, the AOCs, the Ro Khannas, these people, the younger people who want to make the party more progressive, move it more to the left. There are people in the Senate who are very much on the right, who are basically Democrat in name only. They're basically Republicans, but they campaign, they run as Democrats, extremely conservative, and they are not supportive of moving the party to the left. They would prefer to move the party more to the right. Just say House and Senate, sorry. So Biden campaigns for Georgia's Senate Democrats following Electoral College victory. So Joe Biden was in Georgia on Tuesday campaigning for the Democrats in crucial Senate runoff elections, a day after addressing the American public for the first time as the official president-elect. In Washington, Mitch McConnell finally acknowledged Biden's victory over Donald Trump, who continues to make baseless claims of electoral fraud and refuses to concede. Biden said, "Today I want to congratulate..." this is the Republican senator. "Today I want to congratulate President-elect Joe Biden," the Republican majority leader said on the Senate floor, adding in reference to the California Senator Kamala Harris, "All Americans take pride in our nation has a female vice president-elect for the very first time." This is just, going through the motions. This is not a change of heart by Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell has been blocking Obama since he's been in the Senate, and he's going to do the same again if he has that ability. The White House, however, still refused to recognize Trump's defeat, asking about McConnell's concession, which came after the Electoral College proceedings on Monday. Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, said the president is still involved in ongoing litigation related to the election. Yesterday's vote was one step in the constitutional process. McEnany, I don't know how to pronounce her name, said, and I should know because it sounds Irish, or Scottish at least, said that she did not have a reaction to McConnell's decision to congratulate Biden. She said, the president again is pursuing ongoing litigation. I would refer you to the campaign for further. Okay. Asked by The Guardian if Trump intended to run for election in 2024, the press secretary merely noted that the legal action continued. Okay, like a broken record. She denied such efforts were damaging US democracy, insisting without evidence that the Russian investigation into Trump caused greater harm. I think Trump is trying to maintain a fire among his supporters, because he wants them to continue to donate money to his campaign. Because once again, as I've said before, he has lent money to his campaign, and he wants them to pay that money back. And he has discovered a way of doing that, because he can't ask for donations. He can't say, donate to me because I have debts. Not many people would turn up and vote for. Not many people would, reach into their pocket and hand over cash for that. So he has to say, look, the Democrats are stealing the election. It's a fraud. Help me fight this. Help me fight for democracy. I need money. Yes, that's Trump. I need your money. The guy who is allegedly a billionaire needs his supporters to help pay his legal costs. How is that possible? Surely he could find lawyers across the country who would work pro bono if necessary. But no, he can't. In good Arnie style, I'll be back. Are you going, Pete? Have a great night, Pete. Moscow Mitch might be worried about the retribution Biden may exact upon him when he gets into office. I don't know. I don't see Biden as a very aggressive figure. But once again, and I don't see Biden going very hard against the Republicans. Biden is more a guy who reaches across the aisle in a sense. The Trump business debts are ring-fenced. His only source of income was from the reality TV show. Everything else made a loss. Max, what do you think about a stream with the American David Pakman? I'd love to do a stream with David Pakman, but I think I'm a bit too small fry for David Pakman. But if you know some other American YouTubers, I'd definitely be willing to. The problem with YouTube is that many people who have hundreds of or millions of subscribers, they look down their nose at people like me. So it's quite difficult for them because they don't see it worth their while. Like I'm happy to do live streams with anyone. It's more about having a conversation. It's about debating things, talking about things. I find Kyle more interesting than David Pakman. I like both of them, but Kyle is more interesting, I think. But I disagree with Kyle on many things. I think Kyle has sort of moved away from his base. I haven't been following him recently anyway. Will he stand his MAGAs down? No, he won't. They will remain bitter until 2024. Max, can you ask Trump or Bojo next year? Yeah, no, that would be easy to get on the street. Yeah. I can Boris Johnson may be willing to come on the stream next year. When he but I think people may be happy to. I think I might turn off a lot of people if I bring Boris Johnson on the stream, or Donald Trump. I can get Pac-Man easy. Job done. Max, ask TYT. It's one of their best left-wing channels from the US. I'd love to talk to them about do a stream with somebody from TYT because it's interesting to get the American perspective of what's going forward, and I think I would agree with them on a lot of things. Much prefer Scottish Falesto sock puppet theatre. Look it up. Okay. Max, what about H Bomber Guy or Three Arrows? Three Arrows, I'm not familiar with H Bomber Guy. I know Three Arrows. Yeah, he's a German YouTuber. He's very interesting content, so definitely be interested to speak with him. You could sell tickets for a live stream with Bojo. I mean, like, okay, Boris, tell me something positive about Brexit for ordinary people. That would be my line of questioning. Boris on stream. Only way to retain viewers will be Mankini review. I've said this before. The Mankini is a crime against humanity. Anyway, let's continue. Now that the Electoral College has voted, Trump's hopes of overturning the result, vanishingly faint anyway after more than 50 defeats in the courts, are extinguished. Biden will be inaugurated in Washington on January the 20th. The first Democrat to win Georgia since 1992, Biden appeared in Atlanta for a drive-in rally in support of John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, who faced Republican Senators David Perdue and, oh my God, this keeps changing, and Kelly Loeffler in January 5th contest that will decide control of the Senate and with it the legislative power of Biden's administration. This is critical. Now, what's good for the Democrats is that, you know, Biden is popular at the moment, as far as I know. So he has a bit of momentum. He has goodwill. He hasn't become president yet. People are, you know, wanting to see the back of Donald Trump. So I think Biden can say, look, I need these 2 Senate seats. So he's going to be able to find it quite easy to raise money. The Republicans might struggle because they need Donald Trump on board. But Donald Trump doesn't gain anything from having... he doesn't really gain anything by this. The only thing he could gain is by undermining Biden. But I don't think that's enough of a motivation. You know, does he care more about his own time or does he care about damaging Biden? I think he cares more about himself than supporting the Republican Party in order to undermine Biden. But I could be mistaken. So, will you see Donald Trump enthusiastically supporting these candidates? I don't see that. You know, they need to raise a lot of money. Donald Trump has his own money problems, so I don't see him being really motivated to help the Republicans here. And the Republicans need someone like Donald Trump to come out. Although he, you know, it's a double-edged sword. Having Trump come out can either turn people on or turn people off voting. Kamala Harris will take over if Biden dies. Yes, that's true. But hopefully Joe Biden is still fine. He's not going to disappear soon. UK is already undermining USA, refusing to enforce US rules on financial transparency. That's going to be a problem. Yeah, we're hoping that 2020 will be better than 2021. And, you know, I'm hoping it's going to be 2021 is going to be better than 2020. I hope that's the case. But I think there's a lot of crap coming next year. Not just from Brexit, but I think Boris Johnson is going to have a difficult year next year. The fallout of Brexit, he's going to have to deal with the new administration. They're not going to be friendly towards the British government. The European Union, you know, if Boris Johnson doesn't get a deal, if he starts to, you know, see tailbacks in Dover, he's going to start to blame the EU. He's going to blame everyone else, and it's going to sour the relationship until Boris Johnson leaves office. So I think the next year is not going to be a very happy year either. Hopefully, you know, regarding the pandemic, it will be over in the early part of the year. We'll have the vaccine. We'll be able to return to some form of normality. Of course, it won't be the same 2023 will be an interesting year. Lots of overseas territories with hidden money partitioning to leave UK Commonwealth and go for independence. Yeah, the next number of years are going to be very interesting. Biden will last 4 years and then he's out. Boris be packing cardboard boxes next year. Like Dominic Cummings, yes, be leaving the White House. Will he be leaving the White House through the front door or to the back door? Maybe Boris will say, look, I need to leave number 10 to spend more time with my family. No matter how many there are. Night Night Max, it's been fun as always. Thank you so much, Stanley. Great to have you on the stream. So guys, we've just hit the 2-hour mark, so we'll stop here for tonight. Thanks so much for everyone coming on the stream. Remember, don't leave yet because we have our one for the road. So I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's come on the stream tonight. Very kind of all of you. I hope it was interesting. I hope it was entertaining. Remember, we have our next stream on Friday night at same bat time, same bat channel, 9:30 Greenwich Mean Time. As I said to maybe some people who just joined the stream or joined later on, in case you missed it, I reached out to Phil from A Different Bias, and we're probably going to have a stream together sometime very soon. We just need to fix a time which is suitable to both of us, and so that should be very interesting, very exciting. When I have more details, I'll post comments about it on the community page, and of course on Discord I'll mention it to everyone there as well, so we can do something similar to what we saw with Bowler Hat Man. I think that was a huge success, so that'd be great to do together with Phil. So okay, once again guys, thanks so much for coming on the stream. A huge thank you to the moderators for doing a fantastic job as always, and a big thank you to everyone who has sent a super chat. They're greatly appreciated. So but before we go here, we have our one for the road, so just a moment.
I'm wearing my vivid red dress today. It's going to be gorgeous. It'll stand right out. I'm wearing red. Oh, God, she's got on the same colour as me. This is going to be dead awkward. Just ignore her. I'm wearing black. I like black. I'm wearing my suit. Go to out the pond the day. Do. Where's my clicky pen? Hello everybody, Nicola here. Well, I know that we're going to be telling you can have 8 people for 3 households at Christmas. Personally, I wouldn't do it. It's a fucking risk. But see, before you do that, can you make sure you don't run right round the town meeting all your fucking pals and then making your whole immune system like a human petri dish? Try and just stay safe. Do your best to try and isolate yourself before you have your granny round for Christmas, because the last thing you want to give anybody as a gift is a dirty, stinking COVID virus. And I'll tell you something else. See, the office Christmas parties, not the works nights out, that's going to have to go right on the back burner. We can't do it. Let's just wait till next year. Let's have Christmas parties at the fair fortnight. Because you know yourself, everybody gets fucking drunk and everybody starts kissing each other. Well, we know what happens at Christmas nights out. Right, over to our journalist for the first question. What's happening? Is that somebody's house? What is that? Who's he? Who you?
With a no-deal Brexit now looking increasingly likely, how concerned are you?
Oh, Bunty, oven-ready Brexit, my arse. I mean, if you put a fucking lasagna into a pair of American tan tights and flung it on the road and a bus went over it and smashed it up, that's how oven-ready his Brexit is. Right, next question.
You might have seen George Fuchs has written to Ofcom about these briefings.
I'm surprised George Fuchs has got time to write to Ofcom. Is he no usually annoying some woman on Twitter? Right, here's the deal, everybody. We don't have to have people in our house at Christmas. It isn't a rule. You're basically inviting the virus into your house. So I'm just asking everybody, I know that it's not the time and we all want to have love and happiness, but we don't want the virus to spread. So look after each other, pull on your emotional life jacket, keep each other afloat, and try and get through this Christmas without spreading any deadly disease. Right, Frank, get the door. I want a steak pie supper. Move it, you.
As always, fantastic from Janie. So once again, thank you so much for everyone for coming on the stream. I want to say a huge thank you to Hard Rocks for that last minute donation. That was greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for that. You, David, Different Bias, Indie Truck Davey, Indie Truck Gordon Ross. Thank you all. Get together and do a stream. views would hit through the roof. I definitely would love to do that. We should organize it some way. We could do it through Zoom maybe, or something like that. So I don't know if I'd be able to host it, but we could definitely work something out. That would be amazing. So once again, thank you so much everyone for coming on the stream. Have a great week, and I will see you all. Everyone who's on Patreon, do check out Discord if you want to pop on after. I'll be doing the Discord chat with the guys on Discord in about 10 minutes after the stream. So have a great week, and I'll see you all on Friday. As I said before, same bat time, same bat channel, 9:30 Greenwich Mean Time. Have a great one, guys, and as Boris Johnson always says, stay alert. Take it easy. Good night.